right, so now we're going to talk about navigation, navigating between screens. If you copy this or maybe you type this on the search, you're going to get to this section. So maybe you're thinking, all right, so I know React, so I know React Router, so this should be the same thing, just install React Router and that's it. Well, no, it's nothing like that. This is a completely different way of handling different screens, because if we think about this, on a phone, we don't really have routes. We have different components and they act as a route. So we cannot really, we don't get something like React Router. We don't get it that easy. So what we get the different component called React Navigation. Now, like I told before, this course that you're watching right now is the second version of this course. On the first version, I've added a different type of navigation because we have different choices. Now, of course, you don't get a way to add navigation just with default React Native. We will need to install something from a different developer, a third-party library. So on the previous version of this course, you got two different options. You get the React Navigation, which is this one. Let me just show you. And this one, it's from Wix. So Wix is the developer of this one, the creator of React Native Navigation. So on the first version of this course, we used this one because React, they gave us the option to use a different one called React Navigation. So at that point, this React Navigation from pretty much the same developers than React Native was not ready, was really buggy and not really complete. We almost had no documentation at all. So I was forced to use the Wix one, right? So we used that Wix. And this one is really cool because they give you kind of a native look and feel, or navigation, that's more likely it's more similar to iOS or Android. And it's really, really good, it's really good. But the thing is that now this version, this React Native Navigation, works pretty good with iOS, but not so much with Android. You get a lot of problems with Android. So I'm not going to use this one this time, and I'm going to use the default that they give us, because now this one, it's ready, right? A few versions, after, it's ready. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty good, it's pretty complete. And the documentation, it's pretty good as well. So it changed. So now we're going to use this one because it's much easier to use. It's much easier to install. The Wix one is just super complicated to install. And this one is much, much easier, and we get, the documentation. So we're going to use this one. All right, so if we we go to navigating between screens, and we go to React Navigation, they give us, dude, install this dependency, and you can use it. But that's okay. This is just an example. It's much more than this. This is, not what we're gonna do. This is too simple for us. So if we go at the bottom, we get a link, follow the React Navigation Getting Started Guide. So if I click on this, it's going to take me to the API of React Navigation. Now, if I click this, of course, we go to the main screen. So of course, you get the docs, the API, and everything else. So if I go to the docs, you get a complete guide in how to use it. You don't need to read it. We're going to do it right now, right? Now, with React Navigation, and what happens most of the times on the phones, you get different types of navigations. I'm going to go here. You get a section on the docs, different status var configuration based on a route. So we get three types of navigation, and sometimes we can combine different types on the same application. So you get a stack navigation, you get a drawer navigation, or you get a tab navigation. So right here they give us an example. So if I go to this one, on this screen, we get a stack navigation. If we click on the button, it's showing us a different screen, not this one, right? It's showing us a different screen, right, on top of the previous one. It's just taking us to a different section, but on top. On this one, it's pretty much doing the same stack navigation, but it has a slide effect. But again, this is just stack navigation. So of course, with React Native navigation, we get some options like adding the header, for example. If we go to a section, we get the back, button, just like we would get with a native phone application. So this one is a stack. Then we get a different one, which is the drawer navigation. And this is what you would find in a web application. You click on a button, maybe on the menu button, and you get the side drawer with, some options to go to different sections. Notice that it's changing colors, and it's because it's going to a different component. And we're going to do this one as well. Of course, we're going to do stack, we're going to do drawer, and then you get a different one, which is the tab navigation. And you can find this tab on a lot of applications. So we're going to do this one as well. We're going to check this one. Now, of course, for each type of navigation, we get different types of settings, different types of props. So we're going to spend some time talking about React navigation. And this is like one of the most important parts of your application. Maybe, I don't know, you want to create an application that has a single screen. Well, well, if that's your goal, you don't need to watch this, of course. But most of the times you will get different screens, you will get a tab, or you will get a side drawer. So this is the way to do it, doing React navigation. So we're going to start with a new application. We need to do a lot of coding. So I cannot really use the 0.1, right? So I gave you a zip of that one. If you want to download it and play around with that, that's okay. But on this one, we're going to start with a new application. Just like I told you before, React Native, it just changed. Let me go again to the docs, React Native. And it changed to the next version, the 59. On the previous one, we were using the 58. Now, and this is just my advice. You can do, at the end, you can do whatever you want. Either way, with 59, we don't get a lot of changes. You can install the 59 if you wish. The problem is that at this date, this just got out. So it's not a good idea to install as soon as this gets out. Not a good idea. Just install the previous version that you know that works okay, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to install the 58 and not the 59 because I know that that one works. This is too new, just one day new. I'm not going to use it. So first, we need to create an application to bring React Native to this path. So I'm going to bring the terminal. You should do the same. Sorry, guys, I had to just cut the video. Okay, don't worry. I'm going to continue right here. So I'm on the parent directory. So I want to bring a fresh installation of React Native. So React Native, then init, and then I'm going to, of course, need to pass the name of the project. Now, before, like I told before, I would like to use not the latest version, which is the one that got posted 7 hours ago. Now, if you still want to use this one, just you can do it, of course, but it's your own risk. I'm going to use the latest stable version, which is going to be the 0.58.6. Much later, when we get to a different section, I'm going to download and play with this one just a little bit and see if it's breaking something. And if it's not, I'm going to just use this version, right? Now, right here, it says quite a few deprecated. So right here, we can go to the blog post, and it says that, hooks are here and everything else. And they give us information about, some components that got, deprecated. And it's nothing of what, we've been using. The only thing we get is the slider, which is, it's not really deprecated, is that they are moving it to a different place. So the installation is a little bit different. But don't worry, as soon as we get more information, I'm just, gonna let you know. That's okay. All right, so how can we, specify a different version? So in this case, I'm gonna do -- version 0.56. and then 8. All right, and then of course the name of the project, rnative_02. So I'm gonna press enter. Directory exists. Yes. I'm going to press enter and I'll be right back whenever this is done, but I made a mistake. Is 0.58, that's 6 or 8? Oh, I said 58. I'm sorry, that's 6. Let me just remove it. It's 58. That's right? I'm sorry for that. Let me go back and double check it. 58.6. Right. I'm going to press enter. We're going to say yes. And okay, so I'll be right back whenever this is done. All right, so everything got installed. So do not run the simulators just yet, all right? We need to do some installing. Remember that React Navigation is a third-party library, so we need to do some installations. So we're going to start on the getting started. Right here, they tell us what we need to do. So, okay, so let's go to the next section and start installing React Navigator.